Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, we're going to take a look at this month's first selection box and the 12 Zooms that's in it. So we have Brave Donald, Ham, Jafar Genie, Tiana, Pastel Flounder, Prince, Cleo, Duchess, Nala, Finnick, Crush, and Mater. So there are 12 really fun Zooms in here. Unfortunately, none of these are really that, well, I wouldn't say none. There aren't that many top scorers and also not that many top coin earners. Out of these 12, I think my top 3 will be the 3 that's advertised, which is Brave Donald, Ham, and Jafar Genie. All 3 of these are somewhat on the rarer side, and they do yield more coins if you have them at higher levels compared to the other ones. So my top 3, again, Brave Donald, Jafar Genie, and also Ham. But let's also take a look at all of them closely and just kind of do a deeper dive on how to use them. So the first one we have Brave Donald, and Brave Donald is part of the Mickey and Friends series, and his description for the ability is tap and Donald will charge across the screen, clearing Zooms. So as you saw there, if you do a vertical clear, if you just tap it right away, it will shoot up. But what you should do is wait a little bit so he wiggles left and right, and then press the button where he will charge across the screen and clear a bunch of Zooms. So he's very similar to one of the other cars. I can't remember which one. Which I think it was Lightning McQueen, is the one that will charge across the screen, but very similar. He will get launched into essentially the screen and then clearing whatever he comes across. Now Brave Donald right now, I have him at skill level 4, so his clearing distance or his travel distance is large, so it really comes down to how you angle it, and you want to make sure that you find an angle that works best for you and clearing a majority of the screen. And at the very end here, for Brave Donald, I did get 1,526 coins for Brave Donald, so not necessarily that great, not essentially a top coin earner, but is a really fun Zoom and a very useful Zoom. There aren't that many good Mickey and Friends Zooms, and this is one of the ones that are pretty good. Next, we have my favorite one, and I think that Ham is going to be my number 1 out of the top 3. Ham's description is clears a horizontal line of Tsum Tsum, and he's from the Toy Story series. Now the trick to using Ham is when he runs across the screen, you want to make sure you tap Ham on the screen. That will give you additional coins versus if you don't tap him, he will just clearly run across. But if you take a closer look, I do try to tap him at later times, but that doesn't really matter where you tap him. As long as he gets tapped, he will drop additional coins from his piggy bank, giving you additional coins. So that is the trick of using him, and really Ham is actually a pretty good Zoom for coin earning, and he was actually advertised as one of the top coin earner by Disney Tsum Tsum, and I would agree with that. I think that he's also relatively easy to max out as well. You only need a total of 12 copies of Ham to get him to skill level 6, so a very easy Zoom to get maxed out and also earns you a lot of coins. So I definitely do recommend getting Ham and trying to max him out if you are pretty close. In the end, for Ham at skill level 6, I got 3,601 coins, so I'm also factoring in that I'm also using 2,300 coin investment because I am also using Coin Boost and the 5-4. So the 5-4 and actually the Coin Boost is where you want to factor in because you may earn additional coins there for the multiplier. So if you get lucky, you may get a really significant multiplier, earning you a lot of coins. Next, we have Jafar Genie from the Aladdin series. And Jafar Genie's description is clears a vertical line of Tsum Tsum, and really it's actually more than one line, it's 3 different lines. The center line being the biggest meat of the clear, but he will also clear a little bit, like a small line on the left and the right side, and it will go vertically up. So the way his animation is, he will create like this fireball and then blast upward. And majority of the area will be in the center, but then on the sides we'll have smaller ones. And the strategy to using this essentially is you just want to make sure that there are a lot of Zooms on the screen before you activate the ability. That way it will maximize the coin earning potential, the score, and also the chain at the very end, because you'll have more Zooms to clear. Overall, I do really like Jafar Genie. He is my number 2. I do like him a little bit over Brave Donald just because he's a lot easier to use. You don't necessarily need to aim. At the skill level 3, they earn about roughly the same amount of coins, but I think that if we get Jafar Genie to skill level 6, he will earn a lot more coins than if you were to get Brave Donald to skill level 6. So for that reason, I do like Jafar Genie over a little bit more over Brave Donald. So my top 3 will be Ham, Jafar Genie second, and then Brave Donald. So these are going to be my top 3. In the end, Jafar Genie at skill level 3, I got 1,387 coins, which isn't bad for skill level 3, but I'm also having 5-4 on as well as the coin boost, so I am using 2,300 coins, so for that reason, it's not really worth it for me at skill level 3 to use the coin boost and also the 5-4, not an effective coin earner. Next, we have Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. Her description is clears a vertical line of Tsum Tsum, and that's really self-explanatory of the ability. What happens is the ability clears the center area, very similar to Jafar, but a little bit different. Majority of her clearing area will be in the center, and actually all of it will be in the center versus Jafar's always spread out. What happens is the frogs will jump into the center, and then the center area will get a vertical blast. So if you like these type of zooms that are vertical blasts and not really want to deal with Brave Donald's like aiming, then Tiana is actually another good one. I do like Jafar over Tiana because the blast radius are a little bit spread out, so you get a higher combo, and the chain is also the same. But if you are just the person that want to focus on the center area, not necessarily the entire screen, then Tiana might be a better option over Jafar. And also Tiana is easier to charge up compared to Jafar as well. If you're the type of player that don't want to focus on just the center section, then Tiana might be the way to go. In the end, at skill level 2, Tiana, I got 1,433 coins, so not too bad for skill level 2. I do have the 5-4 and coin boost on for all of these for just demo purposes, so not worth it for skill level 2 to activate the coin boost and the 5-4, but it is still a really good Tsum if you could get her to a pretty high level. Next, we have Pastel Flounder from Little Mermaid. Pastel Flounder will clear all Tsum Tsum in the center, so ultimately making a burst in the center area, but his animation is pretty cool. What happens is he will swim across the screen in a circle and then clear the center area and in a oval shape. But the blast area will be determined by the skill level you have him at, so the higher the skill level, the bigger the circle will be. I currently have him at skill level 3 and the skill range is medium, so if you have him maxed out, it should be extra large for the blast radius, which should be good. So in the end, for Pastel Flounder, I am using the 5-4 and the coin boost. I got a total of 1,392 at skill level 3, so which tells me that at skill level 6, this should significantly improve. So it could be viable at skill level 6, but at skill level 3, not really worth it. This month I didn't really invest in any of the selection box because I'm just waiting for better Tsums to come around. All 12 of these aren't really worth it to invest your coins in, with the exception of Ham. Alright, now we have Prince as the next one, and Prince is from the Snow White series. His ability description is he turns random Tsum Tsum into Snow White. They can be cleared with Prince. So ultimately it changes a bunch of Tsums on the screen and you connect them for long chains, and the longer the chain, the higher the score, and also the higher the coins will be given to you. So that's really the purpose of playing Prince, and that's the ability, that's the way you want to use him, is you want to make sure that you can connect a really long chain when you have him on. And really the best way to use them is you're likely going to want to use 5-4, so that way there are less Tsums on the screen, and that way you could connect a longer chain for Prince. Another strategy is that you want to activate his ability when you clear a bunch of Tsums on the screen. The reason for that is then that way it will change majority of them of Prince on the bottom area, and you could connect them for longer chains at the very bottom. But ultimately Prince really isn't that great of a Tsum. At skill level 3, I didn't even break 1,000 coins. I only got 772 coins. So I definitely don't think that Prince is worth getting. So Prince is one of those where you could probably just stay away from. Next, we have Cleo from Pinocchio. And Cleo's description is taps the bubbles that appear, and they will clear surrounding Tsum. So essentially what happens is once you activate the ability, some of the Tsums on the screen will become bubbles, or the Tsums will be encased in a bubble. And what you could do is you could either tap the bubbles to burst them. What I've been doing is I actually been chaining them and they burst around the bubbles. And if you get lucky when you chain them, is that you will burst surrounding bubbles too, creating a really long chain, kind of like right there. So you'll pop multiple bubbles there along with surrounding Tsums. And if you get good at this, you could actually get a lot of coins and a lot of combos and chain I'm not really that good with Cleo, but if you are playing where you could clear a bunch of zooms like right there on one chain, you could get a total of 25, sometimes even 40 something if you clear the entire screen if you get lucky. Because if you get one really long chain and get lucky and burst those bubbles around it, your chain could be really, really long. Alternatively, you could just tap the bubbles to burst them, and they kind of work just like a magic bubble and burst things around it. But I find it that it's better if you're able to connect the long chain and burst the bubble that way. It saves you a little bit of time and also earns you a little bit more coins because you're creating a longer chain for that particular burst. In the end for Cleo, I got 1,339 at skill level 2, so it could be viable if you have him at a higher skill level because there will be more bubbles on the screen and more chains for you to make, so therefore earning you more coins. But for me, Cleo skill level 2, 1,339, not really worth continue to invest in my coins and using the 5-4 and coin boost, not really worth it. So for that reason, I don't think Cleo is going to be worth investing at the moment for me. Next, we have Duchess from the Aristocats. And the description for Duchess is that reduces Tsum Tsums to only Duchess and kittens for a short time. So if you really like cats in general, then Duchess is the way to go, because what happens is the entire screen will turn into cats, and then what you'll need to do is just connect all the cats for a really long chain. I really didn't get good at this one, but if you get good at it, you could get a lot of long chains and maybe earn you some decent amount of coins. I just not really good at these. I do have Duchess maxed out at skill level 6, and the maximum time during the animation is 6 seconds. So during this animation is worth about 6 seconds, and the clock is ticking while the animation is happening, so the time does not freeze. So that's one thing I don't like about Duchess, and I never really got really good at Duchess. I'm just not able to clear all of the zooms in that really color category in 6 seconds. I kind of struggled with it. In the end, for Duchess at skill level 6, I only got 768 coins, so not worth it for me because I'm also playing with 5-4 and coin boost on. But yeah, Duchess is probably one you also would probably just need to stay away from. Of course, unless you really like cats. Next, we have Nala from The Lion King. Simbas appear that can be connected to Nalas, clearing nearby Tsum Tsum for big points. So Nala is one of those zooms where it will convert other zooms on the screen into connectable zooms. So we often see these and they're okay, like they're definitely really good zooms if you're able to connect long chains and make really long chains and get a high score. So those are pretty good. And in this case, like Nala is really easy to use because it only clears the center area. So you don't have to go around looking for where the new zooms are spawned. And one of the strategies in using Nala is actually leave some of the Nalas on the screen before you activate the ability, so that way you could connect a really long chain like I just did there. Another thing is, if you have a long chain ready to be swiped, you want to leave one magic bubble like I'm doing here, and then clear all the zooms in the area, and after you create your long chain, then hit the magic bubble, so it speeds up the animation of the clearing animation. For Nala at skill level 6, I did get 1,978 coins, so relatively okay. You know, I am using the 5-4 and coin boost on, as you know already, so not worth my investment to use Nala for coin boost and the 5-4 with that on. So I would probably pass on Nala to try to get her maxed out. Alright, next we have Finnick from Zootopia, and the description for Finnick is clears a vertical line of Tsum Tsum. So this is nothing new, so these are very common in the game of Tsum Tsum, that essentially the ability will clear a vertical line of zooms in the center area. But the cool thing about Finnick is that instead of like going from bottom up usually, he will use a popsicle stick and wax it from top to bottom. So I think the animation is really cool for that reason. And I also have Finnick at skill level 6, so his range or his blast radius will be extra large. So as you can see, it does clear a pretty wide area. And for the chain at the very end, you get somewhere in between like the high 20s or low 30s if you get very lucky. So it really depends on where the zooms are. It's in the center area, and if you have any big bubbles as well, or big zooms I mean, that will determine how long your chain is going to be. So I think I find Finnick very fun to use, but in terms of the coin earning potential, it is really not worth it. For Finnick at the very end, I only got 1,598 coins, so not really a good Zoom for earning coins, but is a really fun Zoom to use. So if you think that you would like a fun Zoom to use, I personally really like Finnick for the fun factor. Alright, we're almost at the end and we have Crush. Now Crush is from Finding Nemo, and his ability is clears a vertical line of Tsum Tsum. And I really like the Finding Nemo series, so I'm a little biased about that. Every time I see this, I just think about the movie and him saying "Surf's up, dude." I really like Crush's animation. What happens, well, the strategy to using Crush is that you just want to make sure that the center area has a lot of Tsums before you activate the ability, and he essentially will just clear a bunch of Tsums in the center area. The strategy is just make sure that there is Tsums in the middle. It's really simple and straightforward. Unfortunately, Crush, I do have him at skill level 6, and even at skill level 6, he's really not worth it to use 5-4 and coin boost, so not going to be the best Zoom for the purpose of earning coins. But one of the animations, if you care about animations, then Crush is a really good Zoom to have for the animation purposes. Not great for coins, and also not great for score. In the end for Crush, I got 1,818 coins, so below the 2,300 marker that I typically use as a gauge to see if they are worth it. Alright, now our last Zoom out of the 12, we have Mater from Cars. His animation will clear a bunch of Tsum Tsum at random, and actually really starting to like these animations where a bunch of Tsums just gets cleared randomly and you don't have to prepare for them. All you need to do is just spam the skill button and they will clear a bunch of Tsums. You see Mater's little anchor tooly thing gets swiped across the screen and a bunch of Tsum gets cleared. What's cool about this is that if you pay close attention to the animation clear, you'll see that none of the Maters gets cleared. So all the Maters will remain on the screen and falls to the bottom, and that way you could collect more Maters for the next ability. Now I do have Mater at skill level 6, and he will clear anywhere between 25 to 28 random Tsums on the screen. I do have 5-4 and coin boost on, but unfortunately for the coin purposes, Mater was not worth it for me either. I only got 1,960 coins for this particular gameplay. So that's pretty much it for our 12 selection box Tsums, and as you can tell, most of the Tsums aren't really worth it for coins for this particular box, so I would overall recommend just saving your coins for future opportunities. Maybe just clear the capsule that's coming up versus getting a selection box. All of these Tsums are kind of mediocre with the exception of Ham. I think they left Ham in there just to bait you so that you would buy additional boxes, but I think that there are still better Tsums. But if you really need a good Tsum, then yeah, maybe try to go for Ham, since he does have a low requirement to max out to skill level 6. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys found this one helpful and you're making a decision on if you want to invest in the selection box or not. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to scroll down and hit the subscribe button. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.